Gun culture as we know today has oftentimes relied on pop culture for its promotion. With that said, what I'm talking about is thanks to things like video games, TV shows, and of course the movies, it has propelled certain guns into the cultural zeitgeist. One of the movie franchises that probably done more for popularizing and romanticizing guns is the James Bond movies. Throughout the years, the 007 films have featured firearms that are as iconic as the characters that wielded them, everything from pistols to machine guns. So with the Daniel Craig 007 era coming to an end, we think it's a good time to revisit the top 10 guns of all the James Bond films, including movies that are not produced by Eon. That means they're not part of the official series. Some you will know, some you will probably be surprised by. Many of these guns will also have airsoft counterparts, so don't be surprised if you see, footage of me holding an airsoft gun slicing between these movie clips or photos. This is my hardest crack at the top 10 guns that I think that have been iconic throughout the years. So without further ado, let's start with number 10. Number 10, Glocks. Making its first appearance in 1995's GoldenEye, the Gen 1 Glock 17 was featured in a deleted scene where it was sold by an arms dealer as, guess what? A counterfeit product. Yes, he was selling a fake Glock. There's some irony to this. But after that, the gun appeared in every James Bond movie since. Number 9, the Walther WA2000. The Walther WA2000 is an iconic sniper rifle, and it made its one and only debut in the 007 series in 1987's The Living Daylights. Up until this point, there has not been many dedicated sniper rifles in the franchise, but when you saw the WA2000 lying there on the bed, it just fit the mold as a gun for a secret agent. Number 8, the L1A1 SLR. Being a British agent, how could we not put a gun as British as the SLR on this list? Making its debut in 1962's Dr. No and was then featured again in 1963's From Russia with Love, you'll easily spot the said rifle. You would have imagined such an iconic British rifle would have seen more screen time, but in all actuality, it's the next one on our list, another British rifle, that has been featured in more films. Number 7, the Lee Enfield No. 4 Mark I. The Lee Enfield No. 4 Mark I made its first appearance in the same film as the L1A1 SLR, Dr. No, that's 1962. However, the Lee Enfield has been featured in more films than its co-star, the SLR. Where the SLR was only used in 2 movies, the Lee Enfield was used in 5, with its latest appearance in 2015's Spectre. Nice to see the old chap getting some screen time, isn't it? Number 6, the MP40. The first movies of the James Bond franchise were produced in the early 60s, and with the recency of World War II, it was easy to cast the MP40 as the fitting bad guy gun. As first seen in 1963's From Russia with Love, it's been in 7 films after that, finally retiring in 1981's For Your Eyes Only. Number 5, the 1911. The 1911 is about as iconic as a pistol can get, and to be frank, the gun really didn't need the James Bond treatment. But seeing that the James Bond movies always featured iconic firearms, the 1911 A1 made its way into the series in 1962's Dr. No. Though it was not the hero pistol, it has been a regular feature to the franchise, seen in 7 movies, with its final hurrah in 2002's Die Another Day. Number 4, MP5 Variants. When you start to see the MP5s in James Bond films, it's a signaling of things to come and the modernization of many of the firearms seen on screen. It is as if, after the first MP5 variants made it into a Bond movie, some of the old guns, such as the revolver, started to get less and less screen time. The first MP5 was spotted in 1983's non-Eon movie, Never Say Never Again, and then officially made it into the series in 1985's A View to a Kill. As I previously mentioned, non-Eon simply means it is not produced by Eon, making it an unofficial entry to the official series produced by Eon, meaning the first time we've seen an MP5 was a straight magazine version in 1983, with its official induction into the official series of James Bond in 1985. And that one, for us airsofters, you'll be pleased that the MP5K used in 1985's A View to a Kill was the first recognized airsoft replica used in a James Bond film. That's some trivia for you. After that, the MP5 and its different variants have been in 7 movies, as well as being featured in the last one starring Daniel Craig in 2021's No Time to Die. Number 3, M16. The M16, much like the 1911, is a cultural icon in and of itself. However, during the early days of James Bond, don't forget, there was a different service rifle that has been used by the United States military, the M14. And Armalite AR rifles were the first of its kind to be shown in the movies before the M16 ever was a thing. It was in 1963's movie From Russia with Love that an Armalite AR-7 and an AR-10 graced the silver screen. And it wasn't until 1969's On Her Majesty's Secret Service that the M16A1 burst on the scene. From that point on, the M16 and its variants, which I will include M4s and HK416s, have been in more than 17 movies, with notable variants such as the XM16E1 from 1974's The Man with the Golden Gun. Now this one was the first rifle to feature some improvements to the M16, most notably the forward assist. The MGC M16 from 1977's A Spy Who Loved Me. This was actually a model gun built by a brand familiar to many old school airsofters and collectors. MGC, or Model Gun Corp from Japan, have been making these model guns for a long time, and this one is the first to be used in a Bond film. And finally, the Colt XM177 Commando from 2002's Die Another Day, which was a predecessor to the current day M4. Number 2, AK variants. No list of any gun anywhere can ever be complete without some AKs, right? The AK has been casted as the archetypal bad guy weapon for decades, but even though it's been given that moniker, there's a rugged charm about them. It was in 1983's Octopussy that the first AKs were introduced to the Bond franchise. It wasn't just one AK as well. There were 3. There was the Norinco Type 56, the AKM, and an AKS-47. Now, after Octopussy, the AK went on and starred in 9 movies. I know what you're thinking. How can you rank the AK higher than the M16 when the M16 has been in 17 movies and the AK's only been in 9? Well, let me tell you why. This is because the variants of AK used were not simply just rifles, but also machine guns as well. And they didn't just show a single variant, but showed multiples. Like in 1987's The Living Daylights featured an RPK and an RPD in the same movie. And in GoldenEye in 1995, 4 AK variants, an SVD, and 3 machine gun variants were used, the RPK, RPD, and PKM. So, that's why the AK deserves our number 2 spot. Honorable mentions: the FN-P90 and the H&K MP7. The FN-P90 is a gun seemingly synonymous with the Brosnan films, whereas the H&K MP7 similarly seems to be associated with the Daniel Craig series. The P90 was first seen in 1997's Tomorrow Never Dies and finished its run in 1999's The World Is Not Enough. Even though it's only been in 2 movies, it feels like this submachine gun is linked to Pierce Brosnan's stint as 007. Now similarly, it wasn't until 2012's Skyfall did we see an MP7 in the series, but you're almost expecting to see one in a Daniel Craig film, even though it's only made 2 appearances as well, with its second appearance in 2021's No Time to Die. The SIG P22 Series, like the 226, 228, 229, are a relatively new addition to the 007 franchise and didn't make its grand entrance until 1997's Tomorrow Never Dies with the P229. Ever since then, the SIGs have starred in 7 of the last 8 movies. Finally, the Walther P99. This one is special and a brave choice from the movie studios, well, and Walther. The P99 was 007's hero gun in all of 3 movies: 1999's The World Is Not Enough, 2002's Die Another Day, and 2006 Casino Royale. Now, no fault of its own that this pistol was only used as the gun for a measly 3 movies. That is because, well, the #1 gun on this list. I can understand why Walther decided that they wanted to put the P99 with 007 because the P99 at the time was a cutting-edge pistol, and I can imagine they've always wanted James Bond to have the coolest and latest gadgets from whatever that they're using. But I guess it's with a little bit of backlash that it couldn't stay the hero gun for much longer to be taken by the #1 gun on this list. And I think you know what it is. #1, the Walther PPK. The Walther PPK is probably the most recognizable firearm of all time. Thanks to the James Bond franchise, you can be pretty much absolutely sure that even your non-gun friends will know this pistol, see it, and instantly say, "Oh, isn't that James Bond's gun?" While the PPK isn't particularly powerful, neither does it hold a lot of rounds. Look at it. There's something about the sleek lines and clean design and compact form factor that makes it such a spy's gun. First seen on screen wielded by Sean Connery in 1962's Dr. No, it has been in 22 out of 25 Bond films. It's been used by the aforementioned Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and Daniel Craig. Every James Bond has been seen with it in one way or another. In a lot of ways, the James Bond films has not only cemented the actors in the eyes of the public as the iconic 007, but has also turned guns like this into cultural icons as well, making them equally as relevant as the actors themselves. Guys, now I certainly learned a lot simply from doing research and preparing this video for you. That was my best crack at the top 10 guns I thought should deserve a spot on this particular list. Did I miss anything? If I did, make sure you let me know with your list in the comment section below. Now, I talked about it before, but it's worth mentioning one more time that if you want to watch any of the airsoft related videos in this particular one, you can also find all of those links in the description below. And if you found any of the guns cool, don't forget to check out our online store at www.redwolfairsoft.com. Now, did you like this video? Give us a like. And if you thought it was cool, share it with your friends. And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe and click the notification bell so you know every time that we're uploading a new video. And until the next episode, guys, my name is Mark, aka Blue Steel, and I'll see you in the next episode of RedWolf TV. Have a good one.